Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fundamental, the world of roofing.
Absolutely. It's everywhere, but we rarely think about the scale of the industry.
Exactly. And we've got this great source, the Global Roofing Market Report 2025 from Cognitive Market Research, just out in March.
Right. And our plan is basically to unpack it, find the interesting bits, and figure out what makes this huge market tick.
And it is huge. Get this, the report estimates the global market will hit roughly USD 132.5 billion in 2025.
Yeah, $132,514.5 million to be precise. That number alone gives you a sense of scale.
It really does. But the projection is even more striking. They see it growing to nearly USD 184.2 billion by 2033.
That's USD 184,164.1 million. Quite a jump in what, 8 years?
It is. So what kind of growth rate are we looking at?
Well, that translates to a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of about 4.2%. 4.2% specifically between 2025 and 2033.
Okay, 4.2%. That's pretty healthy, steady growth. What's behind it? What's pushing those numbers up?
The report points to a few key things. One big one is a growing demand for more sustainable and energy-efficient roofs.
Ah, so like cool roofs or roofs ready for solar panels.
Exactly, stuff like that. Then you've got rapid urbanization, especially in developing economies. More cities, more buildings,
Means more roofs. Simple as that.
pretty much. And also just advances in the materials themselves, making them last longer, perform better, maybe integrating new tech.
So it's a mix of demand for more roofs and demand for better roofs. Interesting.
Yeah, that sums it up well.
Okay, let's break it down geographically then. Where's the biggest market right now?
Right now, North America is the leader, holds over 40% of the global market share.
40%. Wow.
Yeah, their market size for 2025 is estimated at USD 38,429.21 million.
Okay, but is it growing the fastest?
Actually, no. The growth rate there is a bit more moderate. The projected CAGR is 2.8% through 2033.
And why is that? More established market already.
Exactly. A lot of the activity is driven by replacing old roofs, renovations on existing buildings. Yeah. Plus, there's a steady demand for durable materials because, North America has such varied climates.
Right, from hurricanes to heavy snow. Makes sense. What about the countries within North America?
The U.S. is the giant, naturally, around USD 30.3 billion in 2025, growing at about 2.6%.
Okay.
Canada's smaller, maybe USD 4.6 billion, but growing a bit faster at 3.6%. They seem really focused on durability and energy efficiency up there.
Uh-huh.
And Mexico around USD 3.5 billion in 2025, with growth projected at 3.3%.
Got it. Let's hop across the pond to Europe. How do they stack up?
Europe's another major player. Over 30% of the market. Their 2025 estimate is about USD 31.8 billion.
Okay, so a significant chunk too, and their growth.
Projected CGR is 3.1%, so slightly faster than North America overall.
And what's the big story in Europe? Is it similar drivers?
There's overlap, but the report really highlights the sustainability angle in Europe. A big push for energy efficiency, green building.
Right, you hear a lot about that. Government policies probably play a role.
Definitely. Lots of incentives for eco-friendly upgrades, things like that. So demand for those advanced sustainable roofing systems is strong.
Interesting. Which countries are leading the charge in Europe?
Well, Germany has a large market, around USD 6.3 billion in 2025, growing at 3.3%.
Yeah.
They're very focused on energy efficiency.
Okay.
The UK is also significant, about USD 5.3 billion, but with slightly faster growth projected at 3.9%, likely due to needing repairs on older buildings plus that energy efficiency drive.
And other major ones, France, Italy.
France is around USD 2.9 billion, growing slower at 2.3%. Russia's quite large, nearly 5 billion, but slower growth too, 2.1%. Italy and Spain are in the 2-3 billion range, with growth in the low twos.
So, bit varied across Europe.
Yeah, and interestingly, some smaller countries like Sweden and Luxembourg actually show slightly higher projected growth rates, above 3%.
Okay, fascinating. Now, the region everyone talks about for growth, Asia Pacific.
Right. APAC holds about 23% of the market share currently. That's roughly USD 49 billion in 2025.
But the growth rate is the key here, isn't it?
Absolutely. It has the highest projected CGR globally, 5.6% between 2025 and 2033.
Wow, 5.6%. What's fueling that kind of expansion?
It's really that potent mix of huge infrastructure projects, rapid urbanization, people moving to cities, and government initiatives, think affordable housing programs, smart city developments.
Yeah, the scale of building there is just immense.
It really is. China is the regional heavyweight, of course, over USD 20 billion in 2025, growing at 5.1%.
Mm.
Just massive construction.
But not the fastest growing within APAC.
No, that distinction goes to India. Their market is smaller, around USD 4.9 billion in 2025, but the projected CAGR is a whopping 7.5%.
7.5%. Why so high in India?
It seems to be driven by a combination of a rising middle class demanding better housing and major government pushes for affordable housing construction.
Makes sense. What about other key players in APAC?
Japan is substantial, about USD 6.8 billion, growing at 4.1%. South Korea, nearly USD 5.9 billion, growing at 4.7%.
Yeah.
Australia is around 2.5 billion, growing at 4.9%.
In Southeast Asia, always a dynamic region.
Yeah, Southeast Asia as a bloc is projected to grow strongly at 6.4%.
So-
Singapore is even higher at 5.9%. Taiwan at 5.4%. So really strong growth across much of the region.
Definitely the engine of growth for the global market then.
Looks that way, yes.
Okay, let's quickly cover the other regions. South America.
South America holds a bit over 5% of the market, about USD 5 billion in 2025. Projected CGR is strong too at 4.9%.
Any specific trends there?
The report mentions growing interest in eco-friendly roofing options. Brazil is the largest market, projected at 5.5% growth, linked to infrastructure projects.
Right.
Argentina's projected growth is even slightly higher at 5.8%, perhaps driven by a need for weather-resistant solutions in certain areas.
Okay. And the Middle East often sees building booms.
Yep, the Middle East accounts for around 2% of the market, about USD 5.3 billion in 2025. Strong growth expected there too, CAGR of 5.4%. A lot of real estate development demanding quality materials. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are the big players, both with growth projected above 5.5%. Turkey actually has the highest projected CAGR in the region at 6.0%, with a focus on energy efficiency.
Interesting. And finally, Africa.
Africa is currently the smallest regional market, around 1%, maybe USD 2.9 billion in 2025, but still respectable growth, projected 4.8% CAGR.
What's driving growth there?
Expansion in commercial spaces, hotels, that sort of thing. South Africa is the largest market, with Nigeria also showing growth linked to infrastructure development.
Okay, that gives us a great global picture. Thanks. Now let's shift from where the roofs are to what kind of roofs are being used. What about product types?
Well, the report suggests that bituminous roofing, think asphalt shingles, rolled roofing, is likely to stay dominant.
And why is that? Just cost?
Largely, yes. Affordability and ease of installation make it a go-to choice in many places. It's familiar, it works.
But is it the most exciting part of the market? What's growing fastest?
That would be tile roofing.
Yeah.
Clay, concrete, slate tiles.
Ah, okay. Why the surge in tiles?
Aesthetics seem to be a big driver. People value the look, the curb appeal. Plus, they often have a perception of longevity, even if the initial cost is higher.
Right, that premium look. What about metal roofing?
Metal is definitely a significant segment too. Known for durability, sometimes good for energy efficiency depending on the coating. So it's a key part of the mix.
So bituminous dominates, tile grows fastest, metal is important too.
Got it. And where are these roofs ending up, application-wise?
The commercial sector currently takes the largest slice of the pie.
Makes sense given the scale of commercial buildings, infrastructure projects.
Exactly. Think big warehouses, airports, shopping malls, office blocks. They need a lot of roofing. Urbanization and infrastructure development fuel this segment.
But what about homes? Residential?
The residential sector is expanding rapidly. Population growth, more people moving to cities, plus those housing initiatives we mentioned earlier, especially in APAC. It's a very dynamic part of the market.
And I assume there's another category too. Yeah, the report mentions a non-commercial segment, which would cover things like industrial facilities, agricultural buildings, and so on.
Okay. We've talked a lot about growth drivers. Does the report mention any potential roadblocks, any challenges facing the industry?
It does. Two main ones stand out. First, high costs, both the initial capital investment for some systems and ongoing operational or maintenance costs.
So sticker shock for some of the advanced stuff.
Potentially, yeah. The second restraint is around raw materials, what the report calls feedstock availability and price volatility.
Meaning the price of asphalt, metal, clay, etc. can fluctuate.
Exactly. That uncertainty can squeeze profit margins and make planning difficult for manufacturers.
Okay, makes sense. Are there any broader market trends the report touches on that might be relevant?
It mentions a few things, some maybe indirectly related for now, like technological advancements in areas like syngas production, perhaps influencing future materials or costs down the line.
Interesting link.
More directly, there's the clear trend of expanding applications in various industrial sectors needing specialized roofing. And, as we discussed, The huge push towards clean energy solutions is directly boosting demand for things like solar-ready or solar-integrated roofs.
Right. And what about the companies involved, the competitive landscape?
Well, the big players are focusing heavily on innovation. They're pushing advanced solutions, durable, energy-efficient, sustainable options.
Like green roofs or those reflective coatings?
Precisely. Green roofs with vegetation, cool roof coatings, integrating smart technologies to monitor roof health. It's all about getting that competitive edge. Sustainability and durability are key selling points now.
So innovation is crucial.
Absolutely. The report even notes a specific recent acquisition in the cement industry, suggesting consolidation and strategic moves are happening in the broader building material space, which inevitably affects roofing.
Okay, that's a lot to digest. If we were to boil down the key takeaways from this deep dive into the roofing market report, what should people remember?
I'd say three main things. First, the market is big and set for solid global growth, but the real action, the fastest growth, is happening in Asia Pacific.
Right, APAC's dynamism.
Second, sustainability isn't just a buzzword here. It's a major force reshaping the industry, driving innovation in materials like tiles, cool roofs, and solar integration.
The green shift. Got it.
And third, it's not one size fits all. Regional factors, urbanization rates, climate, existing building stock, government policies, they all create very different market dynamics around the world.
A truly global market, but with strong local flavors.
You could put it that way, yeah.
It really makes you think differently about something so ubiquitous. It's easy to just take roofs for granted. So here's a final thought for you, for everyone listening. Given this growth, especially the push for sustainability and smarter buildings, how different might the roof over your head look in, say, 10 or 15 years?
That's a great question.
What technologies or materials that seem niche now might become totally standard? And what will that mean for how our buildings perform, how our cities look, even how we manage energy?
Yeah, things could change quite dramatically. It's definitely something to watch. This report gives a great snapshot, but obviously digging deeper into specific regional trends or technologies would be the next step for anyone really interested.
Food for thought indeed.